Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to PSGL Season 26. This is the F2 pre-season race at Albert Park in Australia. A track race hosted the open round of the championship in real life for quite some time, and for PSGL, it's been about 5 times it's hosted the opening round, but this time it's hosting a pre-season race. And we'll see this season's F2 drivers head to the track for the very first time. This grid is absolutely packed full of really fast drivers, so looking forward to seeing the action unfold this season. And a new commentary lineup as well for F2. My name is Jess, one of them, that I'll be taking you through the action. And joining me in the commentary box for the entire season is none other than V8 Field, also known as Dan. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It's quite surreal to be commentating over PSGL, especially on such a high caliber grid and also such a high tier. And of course, this is our first time doing commentary together, so I'm so excited for the season ahead.
Yeah, we got loads of rounds coming up as well, and all drivers ready to go. We got a few drivers missing tonight and not gonna make it, but it does not matter. We got almost a full grid. We got a few reserves racing tonight, which should be interesting as well. So before we go and talk about the track, we will go through the drivers from each team, starting off with Mercedes. And that's the most talked about lineup on the grid. We got Midnight, JL13, who was in F1 last season. And joining him is 7-time champion of PSGL F1 and league owner himself, Big C. He lied about joining season 26, but he is here at last for this season. Great to have him back. He needs no introduction, really. In the Ferrari is CC Brain and Greeny LFC, who are the league admins for this tier. In the Red Bull are 2 rookies, which is Gonanen and Shazoo, name changer, and replacing Gonanen tonight, as he couldn't make it, is Coretta, who is one of the reserves. In the McLaren, we have VRT Luke and Pablo Jogler. Luke was in F2 last season. Pablo is a rookie. In the Renault, we have Lakitu and Faz. Lakitu was in F1 last season with Faz was unknown to PSGL, but impressed in the evaluation races. In the Alpha, we have Lickleblock and Odems, experienced PSGL F1 race winners, with Lickleblock's not racing tonight because his wheel is not arrived. So it's just Confessor in the Alfa Romeo tonight. And the Racing Point, we have Pat and Kurax. Pat being a rookie, with Kurax being in F2 last season. In the AlphaTauri, we have Skivan and Josh, both being in F2 last season. And if Skivan makes it through the season, then it'll be the longest he's ever been, well, the longest anyone has been in PSGL F2. In the Haas, we have, I can't even pronounce his name, Benny Skim and Hadler, both are rookies. And in the Williams, the possible favourites to take out the Constructors' Championship, we got Rafa and Toxic Tomato, both in F1 last season, with Toxic Tomato being F2 champion in season 24. And what do you think of this lineup, Dan?
Oh, well, what can I say about it? There's so much variety in these drivers. You've got the brilliant pairing in the Mercedes. Yeah, they're kind of dubbed as the youth and experienced drivers. You've got Midnight, who's the youngest driver on the grid. He's 13 years old, but he certainly doesn't drive like it. He's probably one of the most mature drivers that I know. And then you've got also the Ferrari team. They've both been together for 4 seasons straight, of course, CC and Greeny. So you expect good chemistry from them. And then looking at the Williams, I definitely think they can be a top team this season. Rafa, he came 12th last season in F1. He's unlucky to miss out on that F1 spot, but you know what, he's got to make his mark in F2 and get back into the top tier. So many drivers that can take wins. I can see so many different winners and podium setters in this season.
And speaking of Rafa, actually, let's go on board with a hot lap around this Albert Park circuit with the Williams driver. Now, the first braking zone into turn 1 was a fairly heavy one, and you're now going to go full speed up to 200 miles per hour going into turn 2 and 3 into the tricky little left-handed air, kissing the left curb just a little bit. After the exit of 3, you should swing to the left-hand side into turn 4 and turn 5, and then you're going to go towards turn 6 and 7. You want to cut some of the inside curb into turn 6, and then you're heading towards the Trickies turn, heading into turn 9 and 10. And you don't hit the curb too much, otherwise it'll unsettle the car. You can do on F1 2019, but on this game you can't really do that. And now heading towards turn 10, make sure you don't spin out here and in a flat out turn 10, and now go through to turn 11 and turn 12 chicane. That is another DRS straight. That is where we'll possibly may see a few incidents. Now heading towards turn 13 and 14, coming up here as well. Try and clip the inside curb on exit. Now go through the final few corners here. Rafa's lap is looking actually pretty good at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see what lap time he sets. He's going to be the first time on the board, and it is going to be a 1 minute 19.2, and that puts him on pole position on the soft compounder tyre.
Well, I was just watching Jogler go through his lap. He seemed to make a little mistake in the third sector. That cost him a lot of time. It said on my screen that he was purple through sector 1 and 2, and Greeny, look at that, going 2/10 clear of Rafa in that Ferrari. So he's, as they're all putting in laps, he goes to the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, a quick worth mentioning as well, Big C has won Australia in PSGL 5 times, and last season's race winner around Australia, which was round number 2 of the championship, was CC Brain in Charles Leclerc's car at the moment. So he hopes to have a better result, obviously, here as well tonight. And he was 5th in the standings last season. Let's see if he can take the challenge to the likes of Williams, to the likes of Mercedes. But this is kind of like 1.5, so it's going to be a lot tricky for him this season, as Toxic Tomato was on the lap actually, but now he's going into the pit lane as he is invalidated. Kurat's is invalidated as well. Quite a lot of invalidations. There's quite a few corners where we could invalidate, particularly to around turn 11. I've seen quite a few people invalidate this evening, so these guys have got to watch out a little bit around that corner.
Yeah, it's very tricky around that part. You can run a bit wide and also spin out there, so you've really got to have your wits about you. And I think everyone just coming in, finishing their first laps, you can only see 7 people have put laps in right now. Actually, Hadler's gone out for an out lap, so he might be one to watch. He's a rookie in PSGL from what he was, and of course he was in the Esports Cup, and he's 24th on the TT leaderboards out of everyone in PSGL, so he's certainly got the talent to do it, and I think he can put in a good lap here.
Yeah, indeed, as there's quite a few people as well. I'm just trying to find him at the moment. Oh, I can't find him at the moment actually, but I'll find him in a minute as well. A lot of other people on their outlaps at the moment, but what I've noticed around this track, obviously on this game, corner cutting is quite strict, and some tracks like Australia is probably the strictest it's ever been. And when we're going next week around Austria, if you cut just the sides of corners, then that's it. Then that's game over. It's very good that it's not one-shot qualifying, I've got to say, as well. I wonder if we'll see people in the 118s tonight, because people are getting close there at the moment. But since it's a pre-season, there will be a few people not showing their true pace just yet, because obviously they want to be the best of the best. They don't want to give their pace out to their competitors this early on, because obviously they won't be vying for points in this early stage. They just want to get practice on this game, of course. And Australia was the most voted track out of all the other tracks for the pre-season race. Obviously, they've had other tracks to choose from, Mexico and France. And I think it was 10 votes for Australia, so quite a lot right now as well. So should be interesting to see. Is anyone just about to finish that? Confessor's about to start one at the moment. Quite a few people in the pits now, actually, as well. Now, a few DRS zones, obviously, around this circuit. One at the start finish zone, one going towards turn 11. And tyre wear is a crucial factor on this game. And I think strategy may not be the same for some of these guys. They may have to trigger putting on a setup which is more suited to the tyres a little bit more. They've got to put in a lot of effort. Because on the last game, I didn't put much effort. But on this game, it turns out you need to put a lot more effort in.
Absolutely. The tyre wear is crucial, especially around Australia, where you can really go anyway with the strategy. Just Hadler's invalidated at turn 11. He was on for a good lap, so I think Confessor is the furthest up on a lap right now, and he's almost put it in the wall. Ooh. And he is in the wall. He's lost it. I think that's at turn 11, coming off the exit there. It doesn't look like he's got any damage, so he got away with that one there, but he's going to have to come into the pit lane. He might have destroyed his tyres there, and we'll see. Yeah, he's not got much ERS to do another lap either, so it's probably wise to come into the pit lane here, and that's what he's going to do in that Alfa Romeo car.
Yep, he does. Quite a few people actually spin as well, actually. So there we go, Professor in the pits, actually, as well. Yeah, I'm still quite sure that they haven't set a lap time as of yet, but I've always found that one-shot, well, if you only set a lap towards the end, it kind of is like one-shot qualifying, so they need to get their lap on the way pretty soon as well. One of the rookies, Faz, is coming across turn 3 now into turn 4 and 5 to set his lap as well with 8 minutes left to go. It's nice to see Name Changer in second place at the moment in the Red Bull, actually. Red Bull was one of the least popular cars to choose from out of all the list. It was the second to last car that was picked, and obviously Rafa had first pick along with his teammate Toxic Tomato. And obviously, no surprise, they went for the Williams, and I won't be surprised they chose it because obviously they won't get held up as much. But I'm quite surprised the Red Bull wasn't that a popular choice, because I love the Red Bull on this game. Maybe it might be delivery, I don't know.
I find that my preference with the Red Bull is the Honda engine. I just love the way that it sounds in this game, with that slight little high pitchness to it. It's beautiful to listen to, and I've actually picked the Red Bull myself for I'm embarrassed to say it, but for F10, which will be every Thursday in PSGL.
Cheeky plug there, cheeky plug. Most of the streams are actually streamed on the PSGL channel, of course. Not every tier is doing their pre-season races. Well, we've got most of them anyway, either done or doing their pre-season races. So, some really exciting action to happen over the next, couple of hours actually, because F4 is still going on at the moment, as a few more people set their lap times. Midnight is in P11, Pablo in P12. One of the reserves, Coretta doing a good job in 10th. Probably the closest I've seen these guys. The top 13 separated by 0.8 of a second. Confessor, interestingly enough, out on the medium, so he's committed probably to the alternate strategy at the moment, but he's on his outlap at the moment anyway. With two people retired from the session, so obviously they commit to start at the back of the grid. Maybe CC Brain going to do a last to first challenge, as Kurax has stopped on the circuit. Now, just an interesting point to tell actually about Slipstream. There was a huge debate this morning in both F1 and the F2 tier chat about what is going on with that, but there was confirmation that it is banned from all tiers this season, and if they're caught doing it on stream or on the chat mat or by someone else's POV, then they will get a penalty. Not sure what penalty they would get, but they will get a penalty nonetheless. Some drivers thought it was unfair, but majority of the drivers think that banning Slipstream would be a good idea. So it will make things more interesting, because obviously with time trial, all they could rely on was themselves. So it just shows their true pace, really, in the races.
Absolutely, and if you're using Slipstream, that can gain you about 0.2, and for the higher tiers, that realistically, that could be the difference between a top 5 start and then starting up outside the top 10. So it really is, it brings everyone a lot closer, and as you said, it makes people show their true pace, which is nice to see. I think esports and then the leading PC league, they've all banned it as well. So yeah, it's nice to see that PSGL are also doing the same, taking initiative and ensuring that everyone is on a level playing field.
Yeah, and obviously not everyone is going to make every single race. We're all human, we all have lives, obviously. So if your teammate's not there to give you Slipstream, and if there's no reserves available, then that's going to put you at a huge disadvantage in terms of communication and stuff like that. But I can see that a lot of teammates will be in a party together as well this season, especially if they want to go for the constructor. So they'll have to think of different ways to actually get those points this season. Maybe the pitch strategies will come more into force as well, not really in qualifying at the moment. And look at the gap between first and second, 4 thousandths of a second, and it's your big man, Big C, on a pole position in his first race back. His first race since season 24 in Monaco.
Well, he's had a bit of a rest up, and he's back racing though. He retired from league racing on the last game completely, but now he's racing in other leagues as well as PSGL F2. So it's nice to see him actually at the top. You know, he's a bit of a legend in the community, winning 7 PSGL F1 championships. I think for 3 game cycles straight, maybe from about F1 2013 to 16, he won every championship. So
That's crazy.
yeah, it's so lovely to see him back in greeny. He's actually just put in a lap. He's gone quicker, and he improves the pole position. The first driver to get in the 1 minute 18. So you're right. We have seen a 1 minute 18 time, and I don't think it's going to be the last.
No, it won't be as well, because the track will start to evolve as the session goes on, and it is the calm before the storm. And some drivers are going to be relieved today that they've only got a few ERS modes to manage in qualifying. Obviously, 0 is none, and then we got 2, which is hot lap as well. And I think there's mode 1 as well, I can't remember, of medium. And then in the race, they've only just got no ERS modes to manage apart from the big overtake button. So at least these guys this season could concentrate on the racing, and that will make the racing a little bit closer. And we just see more people going to the 118s, just as I said, that name changer in the Red Bull going to the 118s as well. Rafa in P4 as well, with Toxic Tamara, his teammate, not that far behind. So both the Williams pair doing really well, matching each other's pace at the moment. Both these guys have been practicing in a party together, so it's great to see. And obviously Rafa for the pre-season, this is his only chance really. He hasn't practiced at all today, obviously because he's busy, so it's great to see him up there showing obviously that the pace is still there from the last game. And I was expecting actually, Dan, most of these guys to be gutted to not being F2, but pretty much a majority of these guys were actually happy that they were being put in F2, mainly because for some of them, they have more of a chance of winning a title. And don't forget also, they will also get a bit of a prize pool as well. Obviously, PSG or F1 will win the most, obviously for first, second and first place. But F2 and F3 also get something. F2 will get £30 delivered to the guy who wins the F2 championship. So a little bit more of an incentive for all these drivers to get that coveted top spot.
Absolutely. If you're not good enough for F1, and but you're good enough to win F2, I'd rather £30 than nothing. So it is understandable why a lot of people are happy to be in F2, and especially with this grid, it'd be quite a coveted championship to win. This is a really stacked grid. First from third, 12th actually, separated by a second. So they're all so close together. Actually, first to 11 is 6/10 of a second, and look at the gaps between some of these guys. For 10th and 11th, that's Lakitu and Benny. Look at the difference between their times. That's 0.02 of a second, and then you've got 1 millisecond between Luke and Fast. So these guys are all so close together. I'd love to be a part of this league. Of course, I would not be quick enough to face these guys.
That's why I'm glad I'm in the commentary box for PSGL and not racing it really, because where I would have been. I would have been in the bottom tier, but it's all part of the fun really, to be honest with you as well. And points are obviously a bit different in PSGL, obviously, compared to other leagues, which make it a lot closer, which we'll go through in the stream next week as well. With 1 minute to go, everyone's are going to be out on their final laps really soon as well. So they want to be the last guy that goes out, because they will get the most track involvement, and they will get probably the most clean air as well, and they'll probably be quicker as well. Obviously, if F1 were racing tonight around Australia, I wouldn't have known what track they would have gone for if they did race tonight. I'm almost certain some of these guys would have been in the 117s as well, potentially. We'll have to wait and see, of course, but I doubt we'll get that tonight, but you never know. These F2 drivers will probably surprise us, of course, and it's nice to see the rookies actually making a name of themselves. We have a few rookies in this tier, and they've had some really good evaluation races, and it just goes to show that you don't have to be a veteran or a legend or something just to be a part of one of the top 2 tiers. If you work hard on your craft, then you will get there, and that's what some of these rookies are showing tonight.
Absolutely, I'm quite surprised with Name Changer. If you don't know who he was before, He's changed a lot of his names. He was Raheem Mazina, and then I think he was FBA salesman for a bit, and then V Messina. I'm surprised that he's doing really well today. I think that he is a rookie in PSGL, and he's doing really well for himself. I've got to say, one of the three drivers to be in the 1 minute 18s, 3 milliseconds separate him and Lakitu, who is a really experienced PSGL F1 driver. And I think, yeah, in season 24, so that was 2 seasons ago, he came 8th position in the whole of PSGL F1. So you've got to hand it to Name Changer here. He's on a lap right now, but I'm sure there's a lot of drivers further up on their laps.
Yeah, they are. The checker flag has dropped. Pat in the racing point has come across the line. He finished no higher than P8. And we've got Josh, who's just going to miss out, unfortunately. And he's invalidated, sadly, as well. We got Mercedes. Who is that? I think it's Big C. Yes, it is Big C. Can he go up higher than P4 currently? He improves by 100th of a second. That puts him in 4th, though. Not enough for pole. We've got quite a few people coming across the line. We've got Rafa. Can he do any better? Oh, he's on pole position. 118.8 for him. Greeny comes across the line now. He can do better. Yes, he can. 118.7. Name change. Oh, he bins it across the line. It would have been a big improvement for him, but that's going to stay third. We got Lakita, who's just invalidated. Big C's teammate is not going to cross the line. We got Luke in the in the McLaren about to cross the line. I keep thinking he's in the Renault for some reason. He can only manage 11th, and I think, Dan, that's it for qualifying. And one of the league admins, believe it or not, Greeny LFC, is on pole position by just 900ths of a second.
Well, that is quite the close qualifying, less than a tenth separating the top two. Greeny didn't have the best of seasons last season in F2, so it's nice to see him at the top. Well, I'd say not the best. He came in 12th position, so and it says on our fact sheet that he's PSGL F1 pace on his day, but tends to spin. Well, I'll tell you what, he's looking PSGL F1 pace right now, because to go almost a 10th clear of Rafa, who did really well in F1 last season, that's got to be something.
Yeah, definitely. I'm impressed as well. And let's just say I have big things for Rafa, and Rafa doesn't know it yet, because I've commentated on Rafa before, and he hardly ever wins. So, you know, maybe this might be the season where he wins a race and I get to commentate on him in the Williams. But he's looking good. And usually the run into turn 1, usually P2 gets a better run anyway with less dirty air. So maybe this could be Rafa's chance to get the best start that he needs to, really, as well as I don't know what's happening with Josh, as the lobby, I think,
on an outlap.
it's the timings, I think, it glitched on our screen and at the moment. So yeah, and interesting enough, I think whilst we wait for the lobby to go into the results pane, some of you may have noticed, obviously, the last season's F2 champion, Bugatti, he's only in F3 this season. So it must be that the game may have not suited to his style a little bit, but he probably would have been closer going into F2, but there wasn't many seats. But that was one big shock for me, the F2 champion not in any of the top 2 tiers.
Yeah, that was quite mind-boggling to me as well. You know, you think an F2 champion, he has to be in F2, but, well, he's in F3 and he's got a good chance to win it. You know, he's got the pace to show from his last season, but of course, and it's a whole new game. Everything is different about it. So, big things can happen throughout a new game cycle, so he might not have benefited from the swap over like some other people have.
Yeah, indeed. And well done to some other big mentions as well. Toxic Tomato in 7th, Faz in 8th, Pat doing very well in the top 10 as well. Everyone qualified on the soft compounder tyres, so that is what everyone in the top 10 will be starting as well. And I think Josh can see the next screen and no one else can. So I think Josh has been told in chat to leave the lobby, because if there he goes, I think he's left. Job's a good one.
Oh.
Job's a good one. But that's a shame. Hopefully he can join back in time, because otherwise that will be his... actually, no, he can't. Because the rules are, unless I think it's before the start of the race, if you disconnect, then that's it. Really, because the game, there is still a bug where it does give you an advantage, and it doesn't give you any penalties at all. So if you disconnect, then that's you over, unless I think it's at the end of qualifying. So let's run for your order. Greeny LFC takes pole from Rafa, name changer in third. Then we got Lakitu, we've got Connor in fifth, Odem's in sixth. Then we got Toxic Tomato, Faz, Midnight, and Pat rounding up your top 10. And we got Luke, Coretta, Benny, Pablo, Hadler, Skivan, CC Brain, Kurat, and Josh. And we got 4 people not setting a lap time as we're about to get into the race. And I wonder what the weather's going to be like. For the first time, it's on dynamic weather, unlike the evaluation races. So hopefully we may see a change, because it was quite sunny, obviously, in Australia. But it's summer back in the day. But not as sunny as it was, obviously, in qualifying. But still, I think it's light cloud with a bit of sun. So I can see dry tyres in the garage. So it is going to be a dry race, most likely. So we've seen qualifying. I'm going to throw you in the spotlight, Dan. Who is your top 3 for the win for the race? Who do you think is going to win?
Oh, you've really put me on the spot there. I haven't prepared for being asked that. But you know what? I think Rafa, he's going to win. He'll win under your commentary, and
I hope so.
Position.
I'm only joking. Well, to be honest, we can't be biased, so we'll see anyway. I think it has to be one of the Williams, or maybe name changer potentially as well. Obviously, name changer could be a dark horse, Akitu as well. You know, this is probably going to be the closest grid we've ever seen in a long time. To be honest, I've got to say, I was watching F2 last season as well, because I was a bit nosy. I've got to say, this has been my favourite F2 grid in a long time. I'm not just saying it because I'm commentating it, but this is true. It's going to be the fastest I've ever seen in a while, obviously. And so I've just seen a strategy pop up on my screen, but I've just missed it. So we'll have to look in a minute. But it's either going to be soft to hard, or a 2-stop for soft, medium potentially. Is one person being disqualified from the formation lap already, and I'm quite surprised that it's the man himself, Big C. But that is one thing that you don't want to do, is get disqualified in the formation lap, because obviously tyre warming on the formation lap and in the safety car periods is very key, especially in wet conditions, because if you don't do it, you're either going to get 2 cold tyres or 2 hotter tyres. So yeah, there's a few other people just got disqualified as well, so they're going to be in the same boat as Big C.
Well, I guess their saving grace is that they're on the soft tyres, which that they're able to generate heat a lot quicker than the other tyres, but not what you want regardless. We've got a completely split strategy. Of course, the top 10 all having to start on the soft tyres that they qualified on. Then Luke's also opted for the softs in 11th. But then we've got a bit of a mixed match throughout the rest of the grid. We've got mediums and hards coming out for drivers. So we're going to see quite the variation in the strategy today. Only 2 drivers opting for the hard tyres, 4 on the mediums, and the rest on softs.
Yeah, so that is interestingly that Pablo has gone for the hard, because hard is not usually a good race tyre to start the race, because you could possibly lose so much time, and especially if there's a safety car, it'll probably come back to bite him if that happens, like in real life, obviously. And soft to hard seems to be the most popular option that the drivers have gone today, because the AWS graphic goes for the most popular strategy. So, you know, I've done that right. Lap 9 to 12 is where we expect people to pit for the hard compounded tyres. Hard's going to last about 23 laps, so quite a long time. So if you've been in like in lap 5 or lap 6 or whatever, then it's not the end of the world. You can pit onto the hard tyres and it can make it till the end of the Grand Prix. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. We're about to get this first F2 race of the season underway. I know it's pre-season, but it's going to make it even more exciting. Who is going to be one setting the benchmark to follow for the first race next week? We'll have to find out. The 5 red lights are on. And it's going to be a long hold. Someone getting a jump start, and it's an AlphaTauri. And and we eventually get going, and it's lights out, and away we go. And it's Greeny LFC that gets a really good start, actually, from Rafa as they head towards turn number 1. Let's see if anyone else is having issues. Oh, we got Big C going to try and make a move past Toxic Tomato into turn 3 as well. So already some big gainers and losers so far. Faz dropping down on the order already, as well as Luke as quite packed already into turn 3 and 4. Not much carbon fibre though at the moment. I did see someone go off. I think it was an Alpha. No, actually, no, it wasn't an Alpha. I think it was someone else. CC Brain dropping all the way down into 17th place, now challenging for position. Big C's making his way up the field. Now he's actually dropped positions, actually. So far, we got a yellow flag. It is Odem's sad times for him. He's dropped down into 16th place. I'm not sure what happened to him, but maybe that his tyres a little bit too cold or something. Maybe he spun a little bit there as well. And we got the Racing Point being a little bit twitchy as well. But it's Greeny LFC that leads from Rafa.
Well, for the most part, a very clean getaway for everyone there. We got some big movers throughout the field. Pat making up 4 positions off the start, and he also got Skeven making his way into 11th because they're coming around in the 3rd sector just to complete their first lap. It's Greeny who's had a really good getaway here, and the pit stop strategy just come up for me. It didn't come up during the formation lap, so that's nice to see as they complete lap number 1 and start lap number 2.
Yeah, lap 2. This is very, very crucial, and obviously Kurax I think had damage in the first lap, and he's gone from bad to worse for the Racing Point driver. I almost called it Force India, so he's going into the pits. He's got a 5-second penalty, and he has to change his front wing. That is not good for him. That's going to put him in last position as well. Josh having a mare as well. I think Josh has joined back in the session though, so that is good news. I think the reason why Josh AI, I think, was there, and obviously everyone else didn't see the start, whereas the AI did. So that is what happened, and that's why Josh is in last place. If you see Josh going about everywhere, then that's probably why so far as well. Big C dropping down 4th position, not a good start, but he did tell me earlier on today that he wasn't expecting big things around here, especially since it's the first race on the new game in PSGL. So 1 lap pace is one thing, but a race pace is definitely another thing as well, with Benny just getting a penalty as well. Let's see what Correds can do past midnight. Obviously, a lot of people using their overtakes quite early on, and that's draining the battery for some of these drivers.
Absolutely, you do have to be really careful with your ERS manager throughout the game. Of course, using that overtake just on a straight is you can lose about 30%, and but some of these guys saving better than others. Rafa has 80%, while Greeny's only got 67, it seems. So Rafa really doing a good job to keep up with Greeny at the moment. He almost goes right into the back of the Ferrari car, but as DRS has been enabled, we're going to maybe start to see him fighting more to maybe take the lead, but of course he can't win the race. On lap number 3, we've lost someone here. I don't quite know. Yellow flags to sector 2.
I don't know actually. It's probably just a bug or something. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one, so I'll have to double check that in a second for you. Or it might just be an anomaly, maybe just people slowing down just a little bit. That's probably why. But this could be Rafa's big chance here. He's got the DRS, he's got the ERS to manage as well, and Greeny's got less, but we'll see anyway. Rafa not opting for the overtake yet, so I don't think he could get the move done, but I wonder if Greeny was using overtake on that lap, because obviously the trick is here, you also got to use overtake when you're defending, but you're not knowing if the car behind you is using overtake. So you got to play it. You got to play it by ear, really. You got to think, right, what is the other car going to do? As we got our next penalty of Odem's getting a 3-second penalty. That's not good for him. Meanwhile, Toxic Tomato is going to go and gain on Lakitu. He's going to go to the right-hand side into turn 1. Can he make the move? Yes, he can. Absolutely brilliant stuff from the Williams driver. That's him, upper place. He's gained 3 position in this race. But here we go, Lakitu coming back into turn 4. But, well, turn 3 actually, but not good on this occasion. So, Toxic, upper place. Both the Williams drivers gaining well on the start.
Absolutely, the Williams drivers really showing what they're worth and showing that they can be contenders for the Constructors' Championships. Both drivers were in F1 last season, so they've really got a point to prove. and show everyone that they can make it. They can work well as a good team, and of course having the first pick also helped them. So they're in the car that they wanted to pick, and I think they're going to have a great season as they're showing right now. As all running a little bit worried, Rafa there through turn 11, but he's not going to use overtake again. This isn't really an overtaking opportunity into turn number 12. It's a really sharp corner, completely 90 degrees. So you've got to have balls of steel really to make an overtake through there.
Yeah, you do. You got to take many risks, as there's a lot of people on this track, and this is one of those tracks really where they practice a lot on this game. So obviously it's the first track on career mode, first track in my team, first track in time trial. So you would expect people to know the overtaking opportunities already. So that they're knowing people's lines. And obviously if you race with each other before, then you're going to know. Whereas Rafa was in F1, Greeny was in F2. So they are starting to get used to each other's driving styles at the moment. So I wonder this is why it's not playing into the hands of Rafa at the moment. Obviously due to his tyres, of course, right now, as we're on lap 5 out of 29. There's also battles happening around the field with Ski Van in 12. Unfortunately, it won't let me select a driver in the spectator menu, so that's why I have to jump towards drivers, unfortunately. So that's why you're getting the camera jumping in today's stream. So I do apologise about that, but let's see what Ski Van can do into turn 9, turn 9 anyway, and approaching turn 10 soon. I don't think he's going to get the move on this lap, and heading into turn 12 for Rafa. He's not. I don't think he's going to use the overtake button again, is he? No, he's not. I think he doesn't want to take a gamble, because obviously you don't want to end your race there, here and there, and obviously this is another corner where you want to get instance as well. Let's see what Toxic Tomato can do on Name Changer as well. Gaining a lot of speed on that corner, actually. That's really going to help him as well, but he knows he's got Lakitu charging down, breathing down his neck at the moment. Lakitu is keen to get past him once again, and no big movers at the moment on lap 6, but these guys have got to get a move on if they want to be ahead of each other in the pits.
Well, of course, I think a lot of these drivers just biding their time. It's a long race, and of course everything can be changed in the pit stop, so they're not really going to try and make too many risks. Of course, one small mistake can end your race entirely, so you've really got to play your cards right and keep your wits about you, or otherwise you're going to end up in the wall and out of the race. So that's why I think that Rafa and Name Changer and Toxic, they're all not going for the moves early on in this Grand Prix. They're just going to keep sticking behind each other. Big lock up from Name Changer. I think he wants Rafa to get a bit of a move on, but Rafa saving ERS. He's got 30% more than Greeny on the ERS, so Greeny having to defend, use up his overtake, and that is going to hurt him later on in the Grand Prix as the tyres begin to wear out.
I've just noticed actually, Dan, Rafa was using it just a little bit when the DRS was there, and once he knew that he couldn't get past Greeny, he turned it off again. So he knew he was playing smart actually, but I could see Name Changer is faster than Rafa. It's like a Ricardo behind Ocon. He was like, let me pass, woman. Yeah, Greeny's in the pits. So Greeny going for the undercut strategy a few laps earlier than I thought it was going to be. So I wonder if it's going to pay off, but the hards can last about 23 laps on this game around Australia. So we all know that the hards will make it till the end of this Grand Prix. But the danger for Greeny is that the hards, obviously, everyone will be on fresher hards compared to him. So at the end, it's going to be tricky for him to defend. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, as Pablo is out of the race, as he's retired in the pits by the looks of things. Yes, he has. So I'm guessing he either had a hardware issue or his just race has not gone up to par right now.
Well, he wasn't running really strongly in the Grand Prix, but I guess he just maybe couldn't be bothered, or he might say something in the chat. If he does, I will speak out about it, but it's a bit odd to just DNF in a pre-season race. You might as well get the practice in, even though you're at the back. You know, there's no point for this. So you might as well just keep going throughout the race, get some laps in, and improve your driving.
Yeah.
So it's a bit odd to see him retire there. Hopefully, we'll know something about it.
I've just noticed Rafa had a purple sector 1 as we were speaking as well. So he wants to get the best in lap he can, really, as well. And he had to respond to that, really. Oh, he almost hit the wall in the pit lane. That was so close. And he just gets the car slowed down in time. His teammate, obviously, Toxic Tomato, stays out, but everybody else, I think, we got name change and Lakitu. Lakitu, is Lakitu see out? No, Lakitu is pitting. We got Faz as well. Interesting enough, Renault double stacking as well, so that's interestingly happened. We're gonna see where Rafa comes in relation to Greeny. Oh, Rafa gets the obviously the cut jump on Greeny. And Greeny's well on the back of him. This could be game-changing in a way, quite literally, actually, as we go towards turn 3. A bit of a lock-up from Rafa, though. Rafa really needs to hold on if he wants to maintain it. Oh, Greeny hits the back of Rafa there. Hopefully no damage done for them, but we can see name-changing going to try and catch up pretty soon as well. Maybe pitting a lap earlier for Greeny has not helped him whatsoever. But Rafa making a mistake. There goes Greeny taking the lead once again.
Well, they were right on the limit throughout that battle. They were so close to contact. I think it was James Allen that said you could fit a cigarette paper between those two cars. That's one of my favourite quotes. And unfortunate for us, CC Brain's out. I think he's lost it at turn 11. We'll see on board with Greeny. And yeah, you can see the car stranded in the middle of the circuit. So CC Brain's out and we have a safety car.
Wow.
And that is perfect for Toxic Tomato. He was leading the race. He had to stay out for his teammate, and now he gets a free pit stop. You'd have to think he's going to keep the lead with this one. Correct, because stays out. He's been picked up by the safety car. He started on those medium tyres, and Toxic's actually getting a wing change. So he might have got damage coming into the pits or something, and he's coming out, I think it's ahead of Skeven. But where is Rafa coming out in relation to his teammate? And Greeny is behind them. Wait, where is he? Oh, never mind. So Greeny's actually... Connor's come out in third. He's in net second.
Well, due to the fact Toxic Tomato had a front wing change, whereas Big C hadn't, then that meant that he got the jump ahead of Toxic Tomato. So, I don't know where Toxic Tomato got the damage, actually. I won't be surprised if it was tagged on the back of someone. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll be... Rafa is getting bad luck on safety cars, really, to be honest. That was so unlucky. If it was a lap later, then that would have been it, and Williams would have tried the double stack. As does the other guys who also pitted before the safety car. Ones that pitted after the safety car, they'll be loving this. They'll be on fresher tyres until the end, and they're going to have the most advantage on tyre wear, especially on the final few laps where it gets ever so juicy here in Albert Park, as we've seen quite a few times on PSGL. This has been a good race so far, full of attrition. The only person who has not pitted is the reserve driver of Coretta in the Red Bull, and he's the one that's going to lead this safety car. I need to check who else hasn't made a stop. Yeah, he's the only driver out of the 16 still running that are yet to make a pit stop. So this could prove costly. If I was him, I would have gone on the hard compounded tyres. It would have made to the end. It would have been absolutely fine.
Well, he might have been past the pit lane before when the safety car came out. So, well, I don't know that, but now he's been picked up by the safety car. He's going to lose all of these positions once he comes into the pit lane, as I think something's happened there. Someone's lost position.
Oh, Toxic Tomato had a collision with Skevan.
Yeah, and he's...
he's got damage. He's got damage because the pit window has just come up again. So he might have lost a bit of his end plate. So I think you have either pit next lap or after the safety car. But you're going to lose a chunk of time. So Toxic Tomato was running great. He could have, if he didn't have damage, he would have probably come out ahead of obviously Rafa. But now he's down in 7th place. Lakitu and Name Challenger gone past him.
Midnight's in the grass. Midnight's
on the grass as well. There's a few people that are struggling with these tyres, getting up to temperature. They're probably not warming up enough. These tyres around safety car conditions are not the best, really. So I find it hard around this track. So you've got to be doing a lot more reeving on the tyres and obviously warming up the brakes, really, to be honest. I was speaking about this earlier on as well. So maybe this is a lesson learned for most of these guys. Warm up your tyres during safety cars, especially if you're on the hards.
From what I actually saw, it was Confessor, that's the man in P10 right now. He actually gave a little bit of a tap to Midnight, and that pushed him onto the gravel there. and I think it might be because of Skeevan. He's red crossing on my screen. Oh, Toxic's in the wall. He spun out.
Oh,
Toxic. What's happened there?
that
He's got no wing.
His race has gone
He's
from
out.
bad to he's out of the race as well. So what would have been a good point score if it was an actual race for Williams. It's now just turned to one person probably going to score points, and that's Rafa. That is a shame for Toxic Tomato. If it was real life, the safety car would have been there for one more lap. And Odems has just got a collision with Midnight. What is going on? There's so much instance happening in this safety car period. Maybe most of these guys are not used to safety car.
He's got damage.
Yeah, he's got damage. Yeah, again. So this is, and he's got a 5-second penalty again. So he's on 10 seconds. Odems has got to be careful before he gets disqualified. But Caress is going to lead the field around. Obviously, he's on older mediums. He's not on 0-lap old mediums. That's just the game being glitchy. What is going on with Odems? Oh my goodness. I don't even know what's going on. But anyway, the green light is on now. Greeny's not going to get the jump that he would have liked. Confessor goes into the pits right now. He is not very happy with himself. I won't be surprised if he just retires here and there. And obviously, Kurat goes into the pits as well. Rafa gets past Big C into turn 2 and 3 quite easily, actually, as well. We've got Lakitu right on the back of Name Change into turn 4 into the windy section coming up right now. And obviously, they've been saving their fuel. Big C losing a bit of time there to Name Changer. Name Changer losing a bit of time as well to Lakitu. Maybe Lakitu can gain 2 positions here.
Well, he's not going to have the assistance of DRS for the next couple of laps. So if he is going to get by these drivers, he's going to have to rely on ERS power alone and slipstream. Because as the safety cars come out, we've not got ERS until I think lap 13, and it's weird. I was weird for Confessor. He was trying to get past the AI car of Skeevan, and then he just kept running into the back of Midnight. I couldn't quite put my finger on what was happening, but of course the AI goes so much slower on the restart, so now Skeevan's out of the race and those yellow flags. I think I might be Confessor again. He's really having a nightmare, isn't he?
Yeah, it is Confessor, yeah. It is Confessor into turn 9 and 10. He's like, you would expect him to do well, because obviously he was in PSGL F1 before, and, he's been widely known for his antics on Twitter, of course, but he is not showing those good antics on the racetrack, which is a bit of a shame, that, but there we go. So I wonder what he's going to do here. Maybe he's going to try and get those softs, make mediums for quite a while, and then go onto the softs for the fastest lap later on. And his tyres are so overheating. You can tell by the way he's driving the car as well. He's not liking those tyres. And you can tell he's trying to eat every advantage he can, really, because he's using his overtake button when there's no one around.
Well, he's just going to have to pray for a safety car if he wants to do well in this race. But for right now, it looks like he's just completely gone in this race. He's not going to have any battles with anyone, just be like his own little
he
desert
spun
island.
again. He spun. I think it's his tyres overheating. I'm not really that surprised, to be honest, but it is it is almost halfway into this race, almost in a few laps time, actually. So this is where they really got to turn the hammer up. Another safety car. Confessor's out. So Confessor scores another safety car. Wow. Where did Confessor retire? I think it was I might be surprised it's heading towards turn 9, but it looks a bit on the track map.
Just at the end of the first sector, we've got 2 drivers in the pit lane, Hadler and Luke. They're probably, I think they go onto the mediums, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Luke is.
Yeah, they have to. So they're going to be a lot quicker than everyone. Correct. Once again, he missed out on the pits window. He literally just passed the pit entry, and he's been picked up by the safety car again. Mother luck is not on his side. But I guess one thing that is, a consolation prize, that he can take these mediums a little bit longer into the race, and then maybe go into the softs, make a mediums to soft strategy work. It's quite an outlandish tactic, not one that normally people would normally make. But if he can make it work, he can set a fastest lap, prove his pace. on the soft tyres, but he's not going to have a good race. Once he comes into the pit lane, he'll be jumped by practically everyone.
I think he'll drop down to where Luke is at the moment, I think, as well, because obviously the pit lane loss is quite significant around Albert Park. So I think, to be honest, it would have been safe if he went on the soft, really, or on the hard, or almost certainly like that, because I know he may just want it for glory, because he's a reserve driver. He's not going to gain anything, really, and he just wants practice. So he's getting practice of leading the safety car. That's going to help him for future races when he gets to fill in as well. So fair play to him, you know. I mean, so he's got nothing to lose or gain in this situation. So we'll have to wait and see, obviously, how many time he does lose, actually. But one advantage is going to make the field even more closer towards the end, because obviously no one will get lapped as well. But I won't be surprised if the safety car comes in this lap. And indeed, the Red Bull driver, Coretta, goes into the pit. And let's see what tyres he goes on, Dan.
Oh, well, he pulls into the early pit box of that Red Bull, and he's gone onto the hard tyres to run to the end. I wouldn't expect him to take the softs all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. That would be practically suicide. He'd get a puncture, and he'd be miles off. So the hard tyres, his safest bet. At least he can get to the back of the field this way, and not be miles off like he would if he would pit onto the softs later on in the Grand Prix. So I guess he's thinking about just keeping with the pack. He's going to be able to catch up, and the safety car most likely will come in at the end of this lap. I've just got to step away for 1 minute, so I'll be back very shortly.
Thank you very much, Dan. We'll see Dan in a minute, of course, but there's not much going on anyway, so it's a chance for a few predictions from me anyway on who I think is going to have the most to gain from this situation. Well, personally, looking at the positions gained, I've got to say, Big C timed it really well in the first safety car, obviously jumping Toxic, and the likes of Name Changer and Lakitu as well. And obviously he's got a few overtakes done as well. His teammate not having the best of luck in sit, but he's still going to get some decent points anyway. But, you know, consistency is key, as George Russell likes to say in a way. So, you know, we will see if he can get the action done. He's a little bit further back from Rafa at the moment, but he's going to be the most game for the situation. Maybe Midnight could gain quite a bit. Pat as well, all the way up in 7th. He's gained 3 places. Benny gained 4. Skivan's gained 6. Hal has gained 4. And everyone else has dropped down 1 position. So this is crunch time for these guys. Greeny is now leading the safety car for the first time. He got pole, obviously, in the qualifying. Is he going to take it one better in the race? Who's got the fastest lap so far? It is Rafa, actually. So I wonder if Greeny's going to take that glory away from Rafa. We'll have to wait and see, of course. And Greeny's not leaving it to chance. He's doing a little bit too early. He's got a really good restart, actually. Rafa, I think, he's been caught napping, and Big C has caught up to him very quickly, and so has Name Change as well on the restart. A few yellow flags anyway, but let's concentrate on the action ahead. Greeny now 9/10 of a second behind Rafa. Name Changer right on the back of Big C. Big C losing time from Rafa at the moment, but let's see what can Name Changer do into turn 3. Not right now. No one making any jumps at the moment. We've got Coretta, who has, I think, got past Skivan for P12, and obviously got past Josh, who is a few laps down, but obviously he has disconnected. Lakitu getting a 3-second time penalty due to multiple warnings, but you know, Coretta, he's on a faster tyre. He's got to make the jump on these 3 drivers now to get points.
Hi, I'm back. I think the restart, sorry, I just got in, but I think the restart that Greeny did was a bit naughty. He kind of pulled the trigger at the right-hander. I think the third to last corner, I don't quite know the corner name, and then he stopped in the penultimate corner and then went again, which is not something you're supposed to do, and that definitely caught Rafa by surprise, and he makes a little bit of a mistake coming out of turn number 12, but he's pulled out a big gap to Rafa. I don't think Rafa would be too happy about it. Nah. But you know, it's only an
that was a bit of a slide from Greeny. Yeah, that was a bit of a slide from Greeny. That's costing him a bit of time as well. Can Rafa answer something about it as well. He's caught up by a few attempts actually going into turn number 1, of course. So this could be his big break, but obviously no DRS yet, because obviously the safety car has just come in. We've got another yellow flag. That's Pat in the racing point. He's dropped down a few positions. He might have lost a bit of his end plate. Oh, there's a bit of damage on his right side. You can tell because he's gone off the track. So it's gone from good to bad for the racing point. Obviously the rookie, of course, but that means the likes of Hadler could get points. Caretta could still get points still. So he's a bit of a saving grace. And he's only 2 tenths behind Hadler right now going into this tricky turn 9 and 10. He's going to go for the jump. There's a bit of laggy from Hadler actually in the Haas. So the Red Bull driver has got to get past him soon, that's for sure. And he's going to go for the move. He's going to risk it like a chocolate biscuit. A little bit of touch in there. Luckily they did go for the move there, because otherwise it would have been sent flying into the turn 11, I'm almost certainly. And I think the Red Bull has run out of ERS speed. He's going to go for the move anyway, but Hadler closed the door really quickly indeed. Hadler wants those points.
Well, they almost took each other out coming into turn number 10. Luckily they didn't. But that was a nice little skirmish that they had there, albeit a very laggy one. I couldn't really tell where one car was at one time as we begin at lap number 17. Is DRS enabled on this one?
I am not entirely sure actually. We'll find out actually as we go on board with Caretta. Nope, it's not enabled yet. It's the next lap, I believe. Here comes Caretta anyway, going to try and go for a move around the outside into turn 3. And into turn 4, and he does it. A great move from him on those fresher tyres. And it's proof in the pudding that he's on the fresh. Oh, wow. Hadler had a huge accident in coming into the start of the second sector. And it's caused a VSC. So Hadler will have to go into the pits. Now, the instant where Confessor retired, I thought it was turn 9, but it's not turn 9. It was way past that. So, I do apologise about that one earlier on, but there we go. So, that means, obviously, they can't overtake anyone. Obviously, otherwise they'll get penalties, of course. We don't want them to get penalties, unlike in real life. Obviously, we see Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, George Russell. Quite a few drivers actually getting penalties for the same incident in qualifying. So, and obviously Lewis Hamilton in the race, so hopefully that doesn't cause too many problems. But for Greeny, he's going to be a free sigh of relief here, because he's allowed to pull up an even bigger gap. I don't know how he's doing it under VSC conditions, but he's going to get out of DRS surely. This virtual safety car is going on for quite longer than I intended. There we go. VSC has been removed and DRS down is enabled. Could this be Rafa's big break? He's going to try around the inside. Outside, sorry, not inside. There we go, as Greeny covers off. And here comes Big C in the Mercedes. He almost went for the move there. You can see Rafa almost made a bit of a mistake there, but I think Rafa backed off and Big C had to too.
Well, Big C definitely gained a lot out of that VSC. He was about 1.5 off of Rafa before the VSC came out, and he managed to close up, of course. No more VSC glitch, thank God, like in the last game, where you could basically speed under VSC once it showed up on the screen that it was ending. And Big C is losing a bit of time to Rafa. This looks to be a bit of a two-horse race with coming up to 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Rafa's going to want to start to get a move on and get past. And this time, unlike at the beginning of the race, Greeny's got a lot more ERS to play with than Rafa does.
Midnight getting another penalty as well, and that's another to add to his list of penalties for this race. And, you know, Rafa, he's got the most to gain in this situation, Greeny the most to lose. And maybe Rafa is saving it until the final few laps, obviously like in real life. So, but if he doesn't get the jump now, the train you can see behind could take advantage of this. We got Faz in the Renault. He's possibly going to get the jump on Midnight. No, he cannot. With Midnight, oh, a bit of a slide for Midnight there. But I think Faz decided not to go for the move, otherwise he would have had a bit of damage from Midnight. But Faz doing very well and gained one position so far in this race so far. Looking very impressive in evaluation races that we saw a few weeks ago. for this young driver as they all head towards the right-hander now. You got to be careful not to hit that curb too much, but they didn't. As Pat said, the fastest lap of the race with a 1:22.5. Obviously, Pat is on the medium compounder tyres. Rafa's even closer this time. He's got to go for the jump. No, he does not. He does not. He could have used the overtake and he could have gone for the jump now, but I'm guessing he doesn't want to use the DRS too much because otherwise he'll be the one who loses the most in this situation.
Well, I guess he's got to think about time management here. They've still got 10 laps to go this time by, and if he uses up too much of his ERS, it's gonna hamper him later on with defending once the laps begin to die out. So I think it's a bit wise for him just to keep up with Greeny, but not use up too much ERS. They've both got really similar levels. So does Big C for that matter. Name Changer having to defend from Lakitu on the outside, and Lakitu getting a little bit of a squeeze. This has invited Faz up the outside of Midnight now. He's had to go off the track, a little bit of a wiggle from Lakitu there, and they've all somehow held position, and that was a bit of a hairy situation there.
Yeah, it was. That was close. That would have been another instant from Midnight. At least Midnight's having a little bit of a comeback so far. I'm starting to notice it is getting a bit darker on the racetrack, obviously, at the moment. Obviously, the clouds are starting to thicken up a little bit. One thing we forgot to ask of the drivers today is the weather, but I'm glad we didn't because it surprised us just a little bit. So it's not as sunny as before, but this will mean that sometimes it could get trickier for some of these drivers to get the edge on some of them to try and get the overtake. Bit more lockups, a bit more of a chance for these guys to warm up the tyres when they're not battling, of course, but they're all in the train right now. But here comes Luke on Benny Skem. I think I probably butchered that name, but there we go. It's going to be the closest battle on track. DRS is enabled for him. We're seeing more battles up front. Let's see if Luke can have the upper hand on Benny. He's got to go for the risk and take it, if you like. But no, he's not. We got a yellow flag in set to 2, sorry. And I think that's one of the AlphaTauri bots of Skivan. Actually, no, the AlphaTauri bot of Josh. Oh, here comes Rafa on Greeny. On a very risky place, I've got to say. He tried to go for the move in turn 5 and 6 there. That's insane. Just past turn 7 and 8. Oh my goodness. I mean, Rafa's doing very well this race. I mean, he wants to get this win of this race and get the ball rolling pretty quickly. The rookies have hinted that Williams are going to be the championship favourites and potentially Rafa as well. But he's definitely seeing a marker already, as well as Greeny being one of the dark horses so far in this F2 season. With one of the most competitive F2 green grids we've seen in a while. So it's great to see Greeny up there in the lead. As we're seeing more battles happening with Lakitu and Name Changer going in for almost a very good move from Lakitu. I think Lakitu is now up into 4th place. He's now going to chase for Big C now. 3 seconds down the road now. It may be a bit impossible for Lakitu, but never say never for him. Name Changer is struggling now. His tyres are all over the place at the moment. This could be Midnight's opportunity to pounce. He's gaining on the Red Bull driver into turn 1. But he's not using the overtake button, which means he's going to back out on this occasion. But look at the entry he is getting into turn 2 and coming up to turn 3 in a second. Name Changer's going to lose it. Here comes Midnight around the outside. A little bit of a banging wheels for the both of them, actually. But it's going to be 3 wide. Oh my goodness, Faz is going to gain on both of them. Faz has not just gained 1 but 2 positions. Benny's also gained as well on Luke. Faz, fair play on the Renault driver. He saw the mistake that Midnight has got, and there he goes up into 5th place. It's a Renault 4-5 at the moment. Someone's gone off. I wasn't sure who that was. I think that was one of the Haas cars of Haddo, actually, that's binned it a little bit, and one of the AlphaTauris, actually. We're seeing more battles happening up the field. Here comes Luke, actually, on Benny again, up into 7th place. Now chasing after Midnight. This is the battle we like to see. They're pushing on the final few laps. I had a feeling this was going to happen, Dan.
Well, that was quite a bit of strong driving from Fast there. I actually do really want to commend him from that. It was great opportunity spotting, noticing that Name Changer who's now dropped out behind Benny, so he's really he's dropped the ball after all of that battling, and his tyres might have also taken a beating. But fast, he finished I think 10th in F3 last season. He's come in unknown to F2, and he's done so well. And there's Rafa. Sorry for not noticing that, but Rafa's now made the overtake on Greeny, using up a lot of his ERS in the process. But Greeny's actually got a lot less there. Yellow flags from sector one. I don't quite know who that's for. It might be
yeah, blue flags maybe. Blue flags for potentially. I think I saw Coretta go a bit slowly as well, so it might be him, but as well. You can also see one other car in the distance, also in this battle for the win, and that's none other than Big C. Who would have thought that he was still in the battle for the race victory on this game? He must be loving this game right now at the moment in this car. He did say in the placements that he's liking this grid, but he was not expecting to be in the mix of these drivers. But obviously, he's won in PSGL F1 on this track before, so there's no means feat for the league director himself, Mr. Big C, who could still potentially get Greeny pretty soon as well, even Rafa as well. So with a few more, I'm so excited about how this is going to unfold. A three-way battle for the win. I can't wait.
Well, it could all come down to the final lap, and I hope it doesn't, but it could come down to penalties as well. I'm not going to have a look to just to keep the surprise going there. But Big C, he's really been watching in the shadows, letting these guys use up their ERS. He's now got 62%, Greeny's got 25%, and Rafa's only got 40%. So he's really saved it here. As name changes are coming to the pit lane, he's going to go onto the soft tyres just to set the fastest lap. He wasn't really fighting for much anymore after his battling. He was running in fourth, then he lost it all behind Benny. And so he's just decided, you know what, why not come into the pit lane and get a new pair of boots on?
Yeah, that's good from him, to be honest. He was running well up until the point where he was making mistakes. So a bit of a shame there. But at least he's still in the points. And if he gets fastest lap, there'll be 2 points tying with his teammate for tonight, Coretta, in 9th place. And I think I might butcher that name as well throughout the stream. So I do apologise for that. Meanwhile, Greeny seems to drop off a bit from Rafa. Now, this is in a dangerous territory for the Ferrari driver. He was leading for the whole race up until that point. Maybe Rafa is starting to find some feet in this Williams. He's seen that clear air in front of him, and this is his opportunity to show why he's one of the favourites for this F2 title. Obviously, in every season, obviously, the champions all get to take part in the Race of Champions race. And obviously, since there's 11 tiers now, obviously there's less chance for the runners-up to do it. So, you know, there's going to be more wild cards there too. And Rafa wants to be one of those drivers to win that 30 quid. And he's in the hot seat right now. And there may be some tracks where it's not suited for Rafa, but this track, with the only practice he has got on around this track is pretty much just before this race for about 10 minutes. It's insane how quick he is.
Absolutely, he's found his footing after getting past the Ferrari car. Probably the dirty air was holding him up, because that's a lot more effective. But now Greeny, he might have to worry about Big C getting closer to him rather than keeping up with Rafa. It might be about maintaining that second position rather than going for the first position, as they're all lapping Skeven right now. This could actually help Rafa. He might have gotten DRS off of that Alpha Tauri car. We'll see in a second. I don't think he has actually. No, he's not. So Greeny being kept in by the drag reduction system, where he can open that rear wing, get a little bit of extra drag reduction, and go quicker in the straights. As name changer gets a 3-second time penalty. At this point, drivers they're beginning to rack up warnings and rack up penalties, so it's really crunch time for them. With their tyres dying out. They've been on these hard tyres for a lot of these guys for almost 20 laps. They are on the edge right now, so it's going to be a lot harder to keep it on track. I've said this a lot, but you have to keep your wits about you. And there seems to be a glitch with the first corner, just saying that there's always yellow flags through there, which I'm a bit confused by.
It's always one of the Red Bulls, usually. It's usually one of the Red Bulls, but there we go. And one other glitch that still haven't been fixed yet. Coretta and Hadler are not on 31 lap old softs. They've only pitted recently, so ignore that, guys. But I've already said earlier on at the beginning of the stream, hards can last up to 23 laps. The softs can last up to 12 laps, and I think the mediums up to 15. So they're all quite lucky at the moment, but Greeny LFC is the one to watch out for. He could be in danger of losing so much pace in the final lap, which could mean Big C could be the most to gain here. Obviously, being on newer tyres than the top two can, well, the top two anyway, actually, with a few laps to go, of course. And there's only 12 drivers in this race. Obviously, Skiban has disconnected. And Skiban was hoping his AI would score points, but obviously it is not. So a bit of a shame there, but Greeny just not finding the pace in these final few laps. The opening stint, very strong for Greeny, but the final stint hasn't been the best as soon as Rafa got past him.
Well, about the tyres, of course, they did spend a lot of time on the safety car. I think this might be a genuine yellow flag now, because that's shown up around, not where they normally show it. I think Benny had an incident somewhere. He's lost a lot of time. He was following, I think, right behind Luke there, so he might have had maybe a bit of a spin. And look, there's yellow flag showing up at turn 10. There's no cars even there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's something they need to fix, that's for sure, on this game. I've seen dark clouds. Could we see some rain that could change the end of it? But to be honest, they can't put on enters if they do that, if it does happen. So they'll have, if it does rain, they'll have to worry about these tyres for pretty much, they have to use these tyres until the end. Now it's going to be very, very tricky if they do that. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, as we got 2 laps to go. Who's going to win out of this top 3? Is it going to be Rafa? Is it going to be Greeny? Or is it going to be the big man himself, Mr. Big C, in the Mercedes? We've got a yellow flag. Please don't tell me we have a safety car or a VSC.
It's showing up everywhere. For me.
Yeah, it's showing up everywhere. I don't know who it is. What is going on? I don't know who's done it.
We can't have a safety car this late in the Grand Prix.
No, it's not a safety car. It's not a safety car.
It's a glitch. So, Codemasters really have to fix something at this game. It's riddled with glitches and bugs, and it's almost unplayable on the online modes. And I feel they need to shift their focus from career modes and maybe cater to the more hardcore league racers instead of just the casual fans.
Can it just go away? Because I want to see a last lap battle, please. I mean, it's just staying
Green's
there.
got a penalty.
Green's got a penalty.
That could be major for him.
I mean, if it stays like for the whole lap, we could see Rafa winning this. And knowing Rafa, he does not want to win this race. He wants to win by fair fight. So please go away. He'll probably go away at the end of this lap. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know what's called. It might be debris. I'm not sure. Let's see if it goes away. It hasn't gone away.
It might just be a visual thing for us spectators.
It might be.
Might not actually show up for them.
Because they're all going at a similar speed. So let's see actually what Greeny LFC can do. Please be warned. There is penalties as well that some of these guys have got, but we don't know how many they got. We don't want to spoil it too much on the drivers, of course. And we will have to wait and see. You can tell that some of these guys are pushing Greeny. I think having a little bit of a slide there. This could be the opportunity for Big C again as well. And it's definitely a glitch for us because the key to is trying to catch up to Big C. And obviously Big C still catching up to Greeny. So this wouldn't have happened anyway if that was the case. So they're still going and they're still pushing at least around this track. But it'll be a shame for the battles to cut short if it was not a visual glitch, of course. But Rafa's really pulling away on these next few corners now. This is going to be great for him. He's really going to set the marker for all the races ahead going into Austria next week. Well, it will be the first race. Of course, we don't know what the penalties are like, but we know that Rafa on track is going to be winning the pre-season race in F2 for season 26 of PSGL. Greeny comes across the line in second, and with his first race back in PSGL, Big C is on the podium. And Lakitu had a penalty, so Faz takes P4 with, I think he's probably getting the most positions out of anyone into the top 4, which is a good result for him. Lakitu that means he's dropped down to 5th place. Luke getting a good result in 6th. Benny, well done to him in the Hascar in 7th. Midnight not getting a result he would have hoped in 8th, but I'm sure he would have been happy with points anyway. Coretta, after having a bad timing on the safety car the second time round, he comes across the line in 9th. He does get a penalty. He gets 10th. Will Pat push him out of the points? Oh, what a shame for Coretta, but Pat will get his first point in PSGL, even though it won't count anyway. So all we just left is Hadler about to cross the line right now. So there we go. Our first pre-season race in F2. And it was a cracker. I really enjoyed it.
I did as well. Everyone really... I'd have thought maybe in a pre-season race, a lot of these guys wouldn't be trying their hardest, but they've really pushed today, and that's great to see. They've all thrown their cards down on the table, or I guess thrown their chips in, and they put their hat in the ring for the championship. Great performances all around. Of course, Rafa taking his win, Greeny for holding the lead for so long, Fast with his opportunity spotting, and then Benny also making up 6 positions. He was actually the biggest mover out of anyone in the race today. And I also want to give a little shout out to Name Changer, because although he did finish in 9th, he was actually running with some of the top guys. I think he was in 3rd or 4th for most of the race before he came across his issues. So coming into PSGL unknown really to the league, it's good to see him showing his pace despite the result.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, well done to him. A shame for Ski Van for not showing his pure pace. Imagine what could have been for Toxic Tomato. I think, to be honest, he would have been up there with the guys as well. But you know, I think it's just bad luck, I think, for him. But surely he's gonna shine for the next race. And obviously, a lot of these guys will be sweating more for the season, because obviously they've got the prize pool, and obviously they want to win the title, and they want to try and get in as high in the grid as they possibly can. So a lot more practice will be considered, and pretty much the safety car did bring out some issues in the race. There was quite a few glitches with the safety car. Again, I hope that gets fixed as well. As finally the timer counts down. I think we're just waiting for Josh's AI car to come across the line, but I've got to say, I was worried I would jinx Rafa in this race, but I finally commentated on a win from Rafa. I'm quite happy with that. He's won. Can he replicate his form next week in Austria when we return next week for some F2 action? We'll have to find out, as Rafa holds his trophy up high, and we've got some of the big names in PSGL joining the podium with him. It's a great sight to see, and I wonder, this may not be the same podium we see in PSGL, and I really hope we see different people on the podium coming up. So we're about to get the results up on your screen. So we've got, pretty much everyone's got penalties. The most people with the penalties is Midnight, with 30 seconds out of the ones that finished. We got Rafa, Greeny, then Big C, Faz in 4th after starting 8th. We got Lakita in 5th, Luke in 6th, Benny in 7th, Midnight in 8th, Name Changer in 9th, Pat in 10th, and then we got Coretta and Hala being your last of the finishers, and your non-finishers are Skivan, Confessor, Kurax, Josh, Toxic Tomato, CC Brain, and Pablo Joglar did not make the finish line. And who's been your driver of the day?
Right, my driver of the day, I've got to give it to BLT Fast in that Renault car, starting in 8th, he finished in 4th. He had so many great moments throughout the Grand Prix as well, and I just love how he made that move on, I think, was it Midnight and who was it?
It was Name Changer, yeah. It was Name Changer. Yeah. And Lakita as well, potentially. I don't know.
So I've got to give it to him.
Yeah, I think I've got to agree with you. I've got to give it to Faz. I mean, he was an unknown in F2. Obviously, he was a bit lower down in F3 last season, but on this game, he came out of nowhere. We could see him return to a spark sooner or later. You never know. We could do. he could be in F1 next season, the more you know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, of course. But thank you guys so much for watching the F2 race. But don't worry, the action is far from over on PSGL tonight. F1 are not doing their pre-season race tonight, but fear not. F3 are streaming their pre-season race right here, right now. And I need to actually check where their race is. I will check on Twitter where their race is. It might be Australia again. You never know. I will check. It is Mexico. It was there. We'll be doing their race. And it's commentated by Luke Etheridge and Sam. So make sure you join the fun there and tell them that we sent you there. And the season starts tomorrow with Formula Performance. I can't wait to watch that tomorrow night. But we will see you next week for some F2 action. Thanks to Dan for joining me in the commentary box.
Yeah, see you later, everyone.
Yep, and we will see you next week for some F2 action around Austria in the Red Bull Ring. Have a good evening. Make sure you tune into F3 right now. Goodbye.